What is up, Electrified Reviews fam? My name is Tyson, and today we're mixing things up a little bit. We've got an unboxing and first impressions review, or overview video, if you will, for the YUME Hawk. This is it behind me. This is an absolute beast of a scooter. It's actually even taller than it looks here. I'm standing uphill of it. 1 second. Here I am on the downhill now. I mean, this thing is massive. I'm 6'3" tall, and this thing's huge. Like it feels like the perfect size for me, honestly. I absolutely love it. Now, like I said, this is not a full review video. This is just my first impressions. I want to tell you what it was like for me unpackaging it, getting it set up, reading through the manual, going through my first few test rides to get it out here so that I could film. So first, let's just do a quick walk around and overview. Now, I mentioned this is a big scooter. I weighed it at home and it weighed in at 82 pounds, which is the heaviest scooter that I've ridden. Now, I love that because it's very stable at speed. I've only gotten up to about 35 miles per hour so far. I haven't gone too crazy, but it gives really a lot more stability and just peace of mind if you are going fast to have something that weighs a lot more. Now, the downside of that, of course, is it's very heavy. If you have to carry it anywhere, then that's going to be difficult. It does fold. It's got a folding stem, so you can loosen this up. I'll just show you how it works. You pop this out, slide it up, fasten it above the fold joint. It's a little bit hard to do with one hand. Then you can just fold the frame back. And there you go. Takes up less space, but still a lot of space. You know, this is a big old boy right here. Hopefully you don't have to do much carrying with it. I happen to live on the 3rd floor of an apartment building that does not have an elevator, so I do have to carry it up and down the stairs, which is not ideal, but hey, it's a good workout for me. Packaging for the scooter was excellent. This is honestly the best packaged electric vehicle that I've ever unpacked, and I've not done a ton of scooters myself, but I've set up a lot of electric bikes, and even those, like, packing nowhere near as good as this. Plenty of foam. It just, everything was perfectly placed in there. All of the different accessories and stuff had their own little like compartments that they were hidden away in. No damage on it. Absolutely perfect. Part 2 of the unboxing, of course, is setting it up. How easy is it to set up? Now, I'm used to scooters and e-bikes that have pretty terrible setup manuals. I mean, I'm talking like you can barely even read it because it's barely even in English, and there's grammatical errors. There's no pictures, or the pictures are terrible, and it was clearly written generically for 20 different models, and you happen to have a certain one. None of that problem with the Hawk. Like, this honestly, again, is like probably the best assembly manual that I've ever seen. I mean, I'm talking full color pictures, excellent details, well written, good grammar, goes through all of the setup instructions for just assembling the scooter itself, and then also all of the included accessories, which is awesome. Like, YUME really did a fantastic job with the assembly manual. I also really appreciated that they included a pump so you can inflate the tires, and the toolkit for assembly had all the tools that I needed, which was good because my toolkit is currently at my storage unit, and I was worried that I might not be able to set it up because, you know, usually with a scooter or an e-bike you get you know, maybe like a couple Allen wrenches, some basic stuff. This came with like 20 different tools and extra nuts and bolts, a couple of extra fuses. This is not to say that the assembly was super quick. I honestly spent 2 or 3 hours on it, mostly because there's quite a bit to assemble for the main scooter itself, with, you know, getting the handlebars mounted, and then once you know, have them in place, then you got to decide, you know, how you want your cockpit laid out. They have everything mounted on the handlebars starting out except for the cell phone holder and the mirrors, but everything is kind of loose on there. It jiggles around, so you have to tighten it in place, or you can play around with it. So for example, this right here was actually on the outside here with the light and blinker horn control and everything on the inside. I switched that. I like to have this closer to the hand grip so that it's very easy for me to hit, you know, especially the horn if I need to get someone's attention. This right here, you know, turning it on or changing the modes, don't have to do that constantly while I'm riding it, so I like this a little bit better, but, you know, that's totally up to you. It's very easy to pop these off and move them around on here. Same for the throttle. You can slide that around, put the mirror outside of it if you want. They actually included an extra throttle that is an index finger throttle that you would work with your index finger instead of your thumb, so that if you can't use a thumb throttle for any reason, you can just swap that out. They included it, which is awesome. So I had to get all of those mounted on and tightened in there. and, you know, fiddle with the display and everything. I changed the angle on the stem. It starts out flat, and then you can adjust that however you want. Play with the angle of the handlebars, get the display dialed in. So I spent a long time, since it was a rainy day, and just, you know, got everything dialed in so that it feels great. I love the cockpit of this. It feels so good. It's fantastic. And especially, you know, like I mentioned, I'm pretty tall, and I feel right at home on this thing. It feels like everything's at a good level. It also took me a little bit of time to install the steering damper, and let me just say kudos to YUME for including a steering damper at all. If you don't know what a steering damper is, well, there's one right here. The purpose of a steering damper is to dampen the steering. It adds some resistance and removes speed wobbles, death wobbles. If you have ever been on a scooter, then you know that because of the small wheels, the small wheel diameter, they get kind of squirrely at high speed. You get going really fast and you get death wobble, speed wobble. It's not a fun experience. So the point of a steering damper is to dampen the steering and prevent that from happening. This is something you see on, you know, motorcycles, for example, tend to always have one of these. But scooters, not so much. There's some, you know, high-end, really expensive scooters that do come with them included. You can install one yourself on pretty much any scooter, and then it just makes the steering a little bit harder to turn. Prevents the wobbles. You can change the amount of resistance by turning the wheel on the top there. I've never ridden on one that actually had that included, so that is awesome to see. Let's finish off with the accessories. There's a lot on this thing, and not on this thing, a lot that just came with it. There is the cell phone holder. Pretty standard. Should fit pretty much any size smartphone. I like the colors. It goes really well with the theme of the scooter. And there's actually an app as well that you can pair with the scooter. You can use it to lock and unlock it, which is awesome. It shows you your speed readout. You can change the settings on it from, you know, one-wheel drive to two-wheel drive, or your maximum speed setting. Full lights are included, so you can turn the lights on and off with the switch right here on the left side of the hand grip. This is a pretty standard motorcycle-esque layout, which will feel great if you're used to that. You've got turn signals right here. Another great safety feature, you've got a horn. That is awesome. This is the main button pad for controlling the display. Came with mirrors, also a great feature, honestly. Like, if you're used to riding with mirrors, then it sucks to not have them. This little hard shell carrying case bag up here is great. Little frame bag, looks awesome. Decent amount of room in it just to, you know, carry some stuff. You're not going to be running store errands or anything else on this, but I've got a bunch of, you know, tools and camera gear in here. But this is a pretty slick add-on. Let's go ahead and fire this up so you can see the lights, because they're quite impressive. So I'm going to hold down the power button. And when the display turns on, it's probably going to be a little bit hard to see for you guys, since the camera doesn't always pick things up. But when it fires on, it's locked. So you can either put in a passcode to unlock it, which is lame, or you can use an NFC tag, which YUME includes. You just put that on the screen, boop, and then bam, it's unlocked, ready to rock and roll. You can also unlock it with your phone if you have the Bluetooth pairing set up. So I'm going to flip on the lights here. We'll take a look at the headlight first. Nice and bright. Now the side lights on this, they're so cool. I really love this feature. If you look at the lights here, they're like, it's lit up all blue down the stem and also on the side of the running board. They're very highly visible at night. The color is amazing. You can actually change the color, which is really cool. There's a remote to change it to whatever shade of color you would like to. They're programmable lights. I forgot the remote, so I can't demo that for you right now, but trust me, it's slick. Here is the tail light. I'm gonna reach up and squeeze the brake lever so that you can see they brighten up a bit whenever you activate those brakes. Great safety feature. And there's the turn signals. So we'll flick the left one on. Shows up on the front. And on the rear, these are crazy bright. And it's, you know, pretty bright day out today. You can see they're pretty highly visible there. At night, they're almost blinding. And of course, there's the horn. Sounds a little more like a buzzer than a horn, perhaps. It's loud though. This will definitely get someone's attention. All right, now let's talk performance. Let's talk about the exciting components on this scooter. First of all, you've got a 60 volt, 22.5 amp hour battery, which is 1,350 watt hours of capacity. That's massive. So that definitely accounts for a lot of the scooter's weight. You know, that's all housed right down there, which is great. I mean, it keeps the center of gravity low, keeps it a lot more stable. You can actually dual charge it. It's got 2 charging ports here. and they actually include 2 chargers. It came with 2 chargers, which is awesome. Even cooler than 2 chargers is 2 motors. There's a motor in the front wheel and a motor in the back wheel. And both of these motors is 1200 watts, so a combined 2400 watts, which is just bonkers. That's a crazy amount of power. Now, some scooters have dual motors, but the battery can't push both of them really at full power. And so, you know, even though it's like, oh, combined 2400 watts, you don't actually get that much torque and the acceleration isn't that impressive. Well, I can tell you that's not the case on the Hawk. If you have both motors active, the acceleration is just wild. I'll show that off in the ride test video in just a minute here. We've got hydraulic disc brakes in the front and the rear. These are Zoom brakes with 140mm rotors. Fantastic stopping power. They have engine cutoffs as well, so that if you squeeze that brake lever, you're not fighting the motor. We've got the same suspension on the front and the rear as well. These are some snazzy coil oil combo suspension that feels awesome. I haven't done any extreme off-roading yet, so we'll maybe have to save that for the full video when we do the in-depth review. But so far, it feels great just riding around on city streets, going over some light bumps. Tires are 10 inches in diameter, 3.15 inches wide, so pretty wide for a scooter. You know, not the craziest that I've seen. Good, like, all-terrain off-road tires. This is definitely built to go do some off-road adventuring with those tires, with that awesome suspension, with the all-wheel drive. So I cannot wait to actually do some off-road riding. Now, I'm saving the proper test ride for when we do the in-depth review. I'll be doing some trail riding and, you know, really seeing what this scooter can do, but I couldn't resist doing a little bit of riding today with my GoPro. So hey, let's check that out. All right. This thing is incredibly tall. Like, this is, I feel so tall. All right, here we go. And we are rolling. Excellent acceleration. Let's see, I'm not sure what the top speed is. I think it's 20. Yeah, it looks like about 20 miles per hour in speed mode 1, which we hit pretty quick. The speed between the display and the app looks in sync with each other, so that's good. My mirrors are not even close. This is my first time riding it, so I was just guessing for how to angle them. So I'm gonna have to tweak that a bit. I'm gonna pause and see if I can adjust my mirrors just a tad. I need to go up. Let's see. Nope, still needs to go up more. It's hard to do while I'm on it, but that's when I need to do it. There we go, that's better. All right, I'm gonna bump it on up to level 2. I want to, you know, see if we can keep up with traffic out here. Speed limit on this road is 30 miles per hour. And we're off. We are past 20. It's 25. And 30. Hit that pretty easily. Applying the brakes now. Brakes feel great. I didn't even put that much pressure on them. Having those dual hydraulic brakes definitely feels good for just considering the size and weight of this scooter. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I just noticed the display shows an indicator for when you're braking. There's a little exclamation point that pops up on there. It might be hard to see on the camera, but there is an indicator when the brakes are applied, which essentially means that it's cutting power to the motor. Great safety feature, so that while you're braking, even if you forgot and you still had your thumb on the thumb throttle, it's not going to just take off and go crazy on you. I'm actually gonna tighten up my damper just a little bit. I think I have it pretty loose. Do I don't know, let's try 3 clicks. That feels pretty good. All right, now I think I'll be brave enough to try it at the highest speed. All right, so we're going to really put the speed and power to the test here. I've got a little stretcher road that basically has no traffic on it. Level 3, we're still in dual motor mode, all-wheel drive. I'm just gonna see how fast we can get going. We're going full throttle. Ooh, you can hear the tires slipping a little bit. Woo, there's 25, 30, 35. I gotta start braking. Hoo-wee. Some good bumps, a little bit of off-roading. Oh, there's a nice steep hill we can try out. Oh, no problem. Since we can go so fast, we can just ride with traffic. No need to be in the bike lane. It's safer to ride with traffic if you can go that fast. You're more visible. No problem keeping up with traffic. The mid-range acceleration is amazing too. So I slowed down to about 25 miles per hour. Then if I hit the throttle, it just takes off 30, 35. All right, folks, that is a wrap for today. Thanks for hanging out with me, checking out the YUME Hawk. If you've got comments or questions about this scooter, chime in down in the comments section below, and I'll do my best to read those and then address them in the full in-depth review that'll be coming your way in the next week or two. All right, ride safe out there.